There you go. So welcome on this next session. We're going to get started because there is so much information, of course, that we need to share with you. So a lot of things happened in the last months at HPE in the server and storage world. So we're going to get started with what's new or what's the latest and greatest in the server world. And then somewhere halfway this session, I will switch to storage. By the way, Q&A is enabled. So if you have any questions whatsoever at that moment, know that you can always ask these questions and or depending of the moment, I'm going to answer them directly, and otherwise at the end of this presentation in around 1.5 hours, I will do also a live demo of the things that we're going to discuss, and I will provide enough time as well to answer all your questions. And if not, my email address is also in the presentation, my phone number, everybody knows me on social media. There's only one Bart Jungens worldwide. So you know where to find me and my colleagues if you have questions after this session. Good, let's get started with compute with the servers. So today we're talking about Gen 10 Plus servers. Gen 11 is not there yet. It is coming. We don't know when, probably later this year, maybe the beginning of next year. You know, it depends of Intel releasing their next generation of CPUs. But nevertheless, today we have Gen 10 Plus on top of Gen 10. Gen 10 is still there. Gen 10 Plus is now the next version. And I still see a lot of, I don't want to call it confusion, but at least a lot of questions, because there are some major differences between Gen 10 and Gen 10 Plus. Quick conclusion, Gen 10 Plus is the performance model of the Gen 10 series. Now, recently, we had to tell you that, hey, I'm sorry, DL20 and ML30 entry-level servers in Gen 10 were end of life. Why? Because Intel couldn't provide the Intel chips anymore, specifically in those servers. But now today, I can tell you that DL20 Gen 10 Plus is available. So I just checked this morning. Yep, we have DL20 Gen 10 Plus servers in stock. So go to InTouch and go place those orders. What's a DL20? Well, it's the 10 series. We have the DL20 and then the 100 and the 300 series of servers that never changes. But so it's an entry-level server, but with ProLiant technology, of course, in there. Okay, so I give you, because I have thousands of slides, I just picked the most important ones and I put them in this presentation. If you are interested in the full-blown slide deck about DL20 and ML30 and all the other servers that we're going to talk about, well, I'm going to show you where you can find it. It's PS Now, it's on Seismic, it's on Tech Pro, or yeah, just send me an email or call me and I can give you that direct link as well. But know that all those presentations are available for you. Now, the most important to remind here is indeed ideal use cases. So we're going to see it's definitely an SMB entry-level server for general purpose things like web, file, print, email, maybe a few virtual machines, and not tens or hundreds, but those few virtual machines, you can do it on there, maybe some development environments as well. And important here is that, because by the way, all the links are there as well in the presentation, but what is in bold is what is new. So you will see, for instance, with Gen 10, it was a long time PCIe generation 3. Well, now with Gen 10 Plus, one of the major changes in the complete portfolio is that indeed Gen 10 Plus now is PCIe 4. So next generation, more bandwidth and more lanes for your IO intensive applications. For instance, if you want to go to NVMe storage as well, well, this is where Gen 10 Plus will come in. So focus on, you can see as well, even now for an entry-level server, we have 333 warranty as well. In the past, it was 311 and 111 even. So also there, all the black things in bold here are better. And these are advantages for you and your customers, of course. Some other things, more details, like I said, more megathreads per second thanks to DDR4 memory in there. You will see as well that the chassis is a shorter chassis, so it's not the full depth chassis anymore. So also in the smaller racks, we have availability to install this server in there. I mentioned about generation 4. There is ILO 5 in there, and there is an option for redundant power supplies as well, but this is optional. It's also possible to have non-hot plug environments. And there you go. Like I said, it's a compact depth for space constrained environments. And so finally, I added as well a tech. This is really for the techies amongst us. So here you can see the DL20 Gen 10, the previous generation, if I can call it like that. And now DL20 Gen 10 Plus. And like I said, definitely look at what is in bold, because these are better things, of course. And very important to say, hey, we have them available on stock. There's also an interline comparison available of one processor Gen 10 Plus server. So we have also the bigger brothers in the 300 series. So we have a DL360, which is really a big brother already, and a DL325, which is then an AMD CPU in there. For those who don't know, all the HPE ProLiant servers ending with a 0 as an Intel CPU, ending with a 5 has a built-in AMD CPU in there. So also here might be interesting. So know that those tables are available to make a comparison of which server do I need to position? Well, it all depends of how many power, how many CPU, how many bandwidth, how many PCIe lanes, how many cores that customer needs for that specific workload. Okay. And even then, if it's not clear, hey, we have some experts in the team like Wim and Christophe and Steven and myself. So if it's not clear, we're going to help you with doing assessments of the current environment. And we have a fantastic tool called Cloud Physics. And with Cloud Physics, we can do an assessment of the current environment. And then we're going to take a look together with you at what is the most ideal server for the upcoming years. Now, the second one that is new there is the ML30 Gen 10 Plus. So ML means that it's a tower server. DL is a rack server. ML for maximum expandability is a tower server. So also there, Gen 10 Plus version in there, one socket, so one processor tower, but with some enterprise class features in there as well. Since it's a ProLiant server, there is ILO in there. We have now also more cores, so a faster Xeon processor in there, more memory, more megathreads, and Gen 10 Plus means back again PCIe generation 4 in there. So also there, ideal use cases, it's compatible with the DL20, but definitely it's for customers who don't have a rack, of course, right? So again, a comparison between the previous generation, Gen 10, ML30, and now Gen 10 Plus. And so as you can see here as well, what is in bold is better or enhanced compared to the previous one. And also here I make a comparison with, now there's also a little brother, that really cute micro server Gen 10 Plus, but also very popular. I have one of them here in my office as well. And then the bigger brother, which is the ML110 in the 100 series. Know that there's always also a ML350, but that's really a big server with a lot of performance. But also there again, you can see here back again a comparison, which server is ideal in which kind of situation. Yeah, and if it's not clear, yeah, like I said, just call us and we will help you to pick the right server for any given situation. Now, really quickly, because I still get questions around this, and also my colleagues tell me that, hey, apparently it's not clear about who can do what in any given situation. So I added just quickly a few slides. I don't put all the comparison slides anymore in there. Know that they are available in Product Bulletin, on PS Now, and on Seismic. So I'll share the links with you later. But really quickly, an overview of the current portfolio, but then not in the entry level, but then in the higher end server. So know that we have an AMD with their Hpe servers. For a very good price, you get really high performance today. We have the highest performance today with AMD CPUs, but of course, Intel is catching up now as well with their third generation CPU. So, like I said, ending with a 0, it's Intel. Ending with a 5, it is AMD. And so today we are talking about the DL360, DL380, already more than 20 years, the most sold server in the world, Gen 10 Plus for Intel. For AMD, some models, the most popular models, know that they are already at Gen 10 Plus V2. I know I didn't invent this naming convention. Blame marketing and product management people in the US. It is what it is. But so in the AMD models, the latest version you're going to see in a minute, this is because of AMD releasing updates on their CPUs with Milan and Rome and Geneva that is coming soon as well with their next generation CPU. But the latest and the most performant AMD models, we call them Gen 10 Plus V2 in there. Now I added those slides in here just to show you indeed that as you can see, the higher is the more performance that you get depending of which workloads. With the pandemic, with the remote workers, for instance, VDI is very popular. Containers definitely as well, with DevOps becoming more and more popular, and also data analytics at that moment. So you will see that there are specific models which are more performing in there as well, depending of your workloads. And I found some other slides as well that might be interesting to position then Gen 10 with Gen 10 Plus and now Gen 10 Plus V2 for what it's worth. Well, you will see indeed that here at the bottom, depending of how many CPU resources, how many performance, but then also important, the expandability. So you will see indeed that DL20, that ML30 and micro server, they are at the bottom left because they don't have those 64 core CPUs, for instance. They don't have maximum expandability with more than 30 drives that you can install in one server. And then, of course, the higher, the better. So indeed, in the 500 series and the higher synergy frames, we have much more power. But definitely, it seems that DL385, definitely with V2 models, are very performing. And then the DL365, which is the same as a 385, but it's a 1U server, it's that pizza box model. So it makes sense that at that moment you have a little bit less expandability on storage itself, right? So this is how you can read it. And then to me, what is important is that I am looking more and more to those workload solutions. So depending really of the workload that you're gonna run, that you're gonna pick your servers at that moment. Okay. And so this is now where you can see that, hold on, I don't know what's happening here. My screen just froze for some kind of reason. Bear with me. Come on, you can do it. There it is. That's better. So that you can see for the workloads like VDI and containers, and definitely for the visualization and the transcoding, that we go to those higher performance models at that moment as well. So if we take a look at the AMD model, so it's the DL325 and the DL385, which is available already in V2. 345, 365, not yet. We'll see if they will come or if it will be directly a next generation that is chosen by the product team. But so 325, very popular today in simplicity as well. Hyper-converged models, and then the 385, which has the more storage expandability at that moment. Now, to show you the difference between Gen 10 Plus, which existed already quite some time already with AMD, and now Plus V2, well, like I said, it's just the next generation of chipset from AMD, which is previous generation was Rome, and now the latest version is indeed Milan. What's the difference between the two? Because even with Rome Gen 10 Plus, we already had PCIe 4, but now we have more cores, but definitely more performance. Why is that? Because, for instance, in the initial version with the Rome CPUs, we had 1 DIMM per chip, and now we can have 2 DPC, so 2 DIMMs per chip, which means that we can have higher performance. Okay, so that's the difference between and this is why Gen 10 Plus, if you can find that server, you need a server that is on stock, and you don't care about I need more than 1 terabyte of RAM. Well, at that moment it can be maybe useful to say I'll go for the Gen 10 Plus, or I'll go for a Gen 10 Plus V2, depending of your workload, right? So meanwhile, quick question already. I am monitoring the Q&A window. What I can answer already is an ML350 available in Gen 10 Plus. Well, not today. So today ML350 is still a Gen 10 server. I need to, if you're interested, if you need to know, I'm going to write it down. I have a copy of the Q&A anyway, so I'm going to write it down. I'll check with product team from HPE if it will be coming, or if it will be directly, for instance, generation 11 one day. A lot today is decided on what is popular and also what is available, because you know that we have those stock or availability constraints of chips, and so this is where HPE has to make a decision. What are the most popular models, and these are the ones that we will bring available to you, of course. So here again, because I noticed that some people think that this is interesting, those comparison tables. So again, same comparison, but then for the AMD models. So 325, 385 with Gen 10 Plus V2, and back again, what is in bold shows you then what is, or enhanced or better. To give you an idea, DL385, you can install up to 36 small form factor drives in there. In a 2U server, 36 drives, that is insane. That's a huge amount of capacity. And why do I say that? Hey, all the data that you put in there has to be backed up, of course, but it is available for those specific workloads like Scala-D and all those other software-defined storage products. Well, there are some very interesting models in there. And then the same thing, but then for Intel, for those who have customers, for instance, with Synergy, and know that now there is also that very popular Synergy 480 bladed server in Gen 10 Plus available as well. DL110, DL380, DL360. Again, why those? Because these are the most sold servers, the most popular servers that are available now in Gen 10 Plus. Watch out in combination now with entry-level ML30 and DL20 as well, of course. So why is it? Well, I keep on repeating. I'm just going to give you the numbers. higher performance compared to the Cascade Lake CPUs, more bandwidth between the CPUs. If you go dual socket, more bandwidth between the CPUs, which brings you back again, more performance in AI, in the machine learning, even crypto new instructions if you're into the crypto world. This proves everything. Now, the most important thing why I put this slide in here is because there is still today quite a lot of confusion, or at least there is a lot of questions that we get regarding the drive carrier. So in the servers with Gen 10, we were having those what we call the smart drive carrier. So that smart drive that you have seen in all the previous generations, or at least a lot of previous generations from HPE, we call them the smart drive carriers. Now, also their standardization in the server market, know that with Gen 10 Plus, we have now a new type of carrier. We call them basic carriers. So watch out with that. If we're going to make configurations, CTO, or even when you're going to buy those BTO servers, watch out with that. It's not possible to use drives from Gen 9 and Gen 10 and use them now in Gen 10 Plus servers. So this is a very important one, that in Gen 10 Plus, we have other backplanes. And also on those backplanes, it's also not easy for us, believe me, that there are multiple types of backplanes for SAS and SATA drives, but now also for the next generation, NVMe drives. And this is where also goes the discussion about the RAID controller constraints that are happening at this moment. And so also the current RAID controllers that we know from the past, there are some availability challenges, you can call it issues with it as well. So now we and my colleagues, Wim, Christophe, Steven, who are also creating those bill of materials for you. So we need to look for what is available. And so now we are transitioning to those new MR or mega RAID controllers. Yeah, so we need to check, and it's almost daily that we have a call with HPE to see what is coming, what is available. And also there we need to see indeed, because of those mega RAID controllers cannot be connected to all those backplanes. So we need to advise you, and my best advice, Bart, what do you think? I think a lot these days, but it changes of what is available in the upcoming weeks and months. So I advise you, or you take a BTO server that is ready to use. And by the way, I checked yesterday evening, we have, even despite the stock constraints and product ship constraints, yesterday evening I checked, we have more than 300 ProLiant servers, BTO servers on stock. So my advice is, if you find a server with the configuration that fits your needs, take it, definitely. And otherwise, validate with, and I'll give you the phone number and the email address at the end of the presentation, check with Wim, Christophe, and Steven, and they can help you. And so there is a question that I see come in, but do you have smart array controllers? Well, official answer, no, we don't have those smart array controllers. But what happened is, in the last weeks, we received deliveries. We have more than 300 on stock with smart array controllers. So we have servers with smart array controllers in there. So as long as they are available, my advice is get them, use them, order them. Yeah, because otherwise it is configured to order. And at that moment, unless you want to wait a year for a server, you don't want that. So we need to go to mega RAID controllers. And yes, this is feedback that we gave already, that today mega RAID controllers don't support external connections for connectivity to MSA and so on. I know, I confirm that this is a big issue. And yes, we give this feedback not only to the Belgian product team, but also to the US, to worldwide. Believe me, I am in that ambassador group. I am not the only one in there that is giving that feedback. Everybody is giving that feedback, and HPE is looking for solutions there. So please stay tuned. That's the only thing that today that I can say. It is what it is, and I hope that it will become better after the holidays, at least. But I cannot guarantee anything, and also HPE cannot guarantee anything because they are dependent of those chipset manufacturer, of course, right? So please keep on checking. Hey, almost every day we have a call with HPE to hear what is coming our way. Everything that we can get, we will order it and we will sell it to you. Okay, so that's for the portfolio. Even bigger changes are happening not on the hardware, but on the software to manage it. So I want to focus as well that you are aware of the changes on the management of the strategy, the direction of the management of all. It goes further than compute only, also storage and networking, you will see in a minute. But this is important because if we see in the past, we call it a traditional core. We had a traditional purchase with ownership, paid upfront 3, 4, 5 years of support on it with local management. Well, now we see in the market, it's not HPE only, that we see more and more hardware and also software subscriptions as a service, but also we see more and more cloud management. Now, that doesn't mean that on-premises management is going away, but also there we see a lot of changes. We see transformation in the management of my IT environment. Also, thanks to the cloud, also there, your data and your application is elsewhere. Also, the management of that platform, it is cloud managed, and it is definitely simplified. And this is where I want to highlight to you. And we're gonna, by the way, this is on my roadmap that I'm gonna organize specific sessions specifically on this one. So stay tuned on that. But so about the management, you know that we have an embedded ILO in a ProLiant server. It's not going away. ILO 6 is coming in generation 11 servers one day for embedded on system management. Then for on-premises management, we have OneView. OneView version 6.6 already. It exists almost 10 years already for on-premises management of your IT infrastructure. But now you should be aware that there is a new component that is coming, which is called COM, Compute Ops Management, and that is delivered as a service. And so what you're going to do there is, it's on the Green Lake cloud portal that you gonna manage your servers. That hold on, because I see an interesting thing, because I'm happy about that. Frank van Riet from HPE is in the call, but the thing is that I cannot enable the chat function at this moment. But what I can do is, hold on, because Frank can answer some questions. What I can do is I'm going to promote Frank as a panelist. And at that moment, Frank, you can answer normally questions as well. So thank you very much for that, by the way, to have a little bit more interactivity. And otherwise, yeah, we can do it anyway at the end of this session. But so I just promoted Frank as a panelist. So now normally you should be able to talk and also to answer those questions. So thank you very much for that, Frank. So I was saying about compute ops management. What you're going to do is the new ILOs. And by the way, the new ILOs, also ILO 5, so Gen 10 and Gen 10 Plus is supported thanks to a firmware update in the near future. that ILO will have a connection with the Green Lake Cloud Portal, and then you can manage your servers from all your customers, A, B, C, D. You can manage them or on premises locally with ILO or with OneView for the bigger customers, but now as well as a service in the cloud. And by the way, I'm going to give you a demo at the end of the presentation, but you should be aware of that. This is an important change in how you're going to manage your compute. And I can tell you already, sneak peek for the second part of the session is about storage. It's exactly the same. You're going to see with storage, your current customers with Nimble arrays and Alletra arrays, you're going to be able to manage them as well from the cloud. So you don't have to go on premises anymore if that customer needs to do a firmware update or he needs a storage volume to connect to its server. You can do it from any place. You can do it from on your smartphone if you would like that. Yes, so that's the whole idea, and you should be aware of that. It is available today in the US with GDPR. It's a matter of time, but probably after the summer, as somewhere in the summer timeframe, it will become available here as well in Belgium. And I have access to it, so I can show you already what is available today and a little bit of what is coming. So there you go. Now we have our ILO, Mr. Customer. We have then OneView to manage your environment and those larger data centers. But now you will see that we have Calm Compute's ops management running in the cloud. So it will be a subscription, just like an ILO advanced license. You will have a license, but now we call it a subscription. But then you can manage all those devices from within the cloud from all your customers, because of course it's a multi-tenant platform. It will make you and definitely the life of that engineer will make that life much easier. Okay, now I'm going to show you quickly a quick intro, because a more in-depth training I will organize afterwards. So stay tuned, you will get an invitation on this, but I'm going to organize, once I have more capabilities to show, I'm going to organize a training on this one as well for sure. Now about OneView, this is not a OneView training, but for those who are interested, know that there is a new version. It's 6.6 already, and I'm not diving into detail into the details, but there's one important thing, is that there is some hardware that is being deprecated by OneView. Now don't worry too much about it. I'm talking about generation 7 servers in Blade system and the C7000 Blade system chassis. So it's OneView 6.6 will be the last version that is able to manage those C7000 enclosures and Blade servers. Now, if you still have customers with C7000, yes, I still have customers. Maybe we should start talking about Gen 10 Plus and all the performance that is coming, because that Gen 7 server in there, I think that even my smartphone is more performant than the Generation 7 server in that chassis. Or we should start talking about Synergy maybe. Yeah, if we're going to take a look at rack mount servers, generation 6 and 7, definitely they consume more power and are less performant. So please go talk with those customers to have them replaced. And then also, I am very sad about that Store Virtual anyway is end of life, but now Store Virtual is also the last storage platform that will be supported in OneView 6.6. And then for the Synergy customers, that Composer, that's the management module in Synergy. Also, there is already quite some time a next generation version available called Composer 2. Well, Composer 1 is the last hardware model that can be upgraded to OneView 6.6. So if you have Synergy customers, maybe we should take a look together of how that customer can be upgraded to Composer version 2 to get the latest updates of OneView as well. Okay, so just quick reminder there. So about compute ops management, how does it look like? I'm going to show it quickly to you for all the things that I can show already, because it's just a first version, a first generation of application. But so it will be applicable on Gen 10 and Gen 10 Plus by doing a firmware upgrade of the ILO, and you can use it in the small, medium market, and also definitely in the large size markets for sure. One of the cool things what I like today is that I don't have to go on premises anymore to that customer to do firmware updates, because one of the things that you have to do is do firmware updates. I don't have to tell you about servers that are running with firmware of 3, 4, 5 years ago, who have performance issues, who get hacked by ransomware. Yes, this is happening as well on firmware level. So these numbers are really annoying me finally, of servers which are too much out of date. Well, now it's this platform that will tell you, these are all your customers with all the servers with up-to-date firmware and out-of-date firmware. And now you can initiate that firmware update from within COM. You get that compliancy report, and from there you can trigger that firmware update to those servers of your customers. Yeah, don't have to go on premises anymore. You get those notifications. You can set policies, because then you're going to ask me, hey, that server has to be rebooted, of course, but you can set a policy that the server needs to be rebooted at 10 p.m. on Sunday evening, or at the next server boot that firmware will be initiated, right? So that's the first thing. I cannot talk about the future, yeah, unless you sign an NDA, but I have seen a lot of cool things that are coming on top of COM. Today, initial version is just power on or reboot servers and do those firmware updates. But I have seen the roadmap. It is, believe me, it's fantastic. There are a lot of cool things coming that you can do with that server. At the end, what you're going to do is you have to ship that server to the customer, put in a power cable and a network cable with an internet connection. That's it. All the rest you will be able to do from your own home office. Install that server, configure that server, update that server. All that is coming from within the cloud-based management. Yeah, believe me, cool things are coming. We keep on organizing these update sessions, so keep on following us. And I will tell you all the latest and greatest of what will be available with Compute Ops Manager in the Green Lake Cloud Portal. Final thing before we go to storage section is I get a lot of questions as well, and my colleagues in the HPE team at Tech Data, is that, hey, about those workloads, I have a customer with VDI, or I need to deploy Horizon on that DL380. What do I need? What are the components of hardware and software? Can HPE make it easier? And then the answer is yes, the information is already there. We call it RAs and RCs, reference architectures and reference configurations. Just a quick reminder to tell you that it exists. The link is very simple. You go to hpe.com/info/RA. Reference architecture, and you will see that at that moment there are more than 100 reference architectures available. What is it? It's a document, it's a PDF with tested, validated, certified configurations, supported configurations by HPE, with a bill of material, with all the components, with all the major steps to do the initial installation and configuration. It's like the Bible almost. Yeah, know that they exist. And so I'm going to give you here just a quick update. By the way, I'll see in the PDF that we're going to send you that the links are available. But by the way, these are all direct links to that master link that I just showed you on the previous slide. But if you want to know, if you want to deploy Citrix, for instance, for those remote workers, well, there you go. There are multiple reference architectures available to deploy Citrix client virtualization for healthcare on ProLiant Gen 10, Citrix workspaces, on Synergy with XenApp or XenDesktop. The same for VMware, with Horizon, with or without GPU acceleration. We have now Teradici as well in the portfolio. That was recently acquired by HP Inc., by the way, but nevertheless, how to deploy Teradici VDI solutions on top of our HPE hardware. If we go further, if you want to have that private or hybrid cloud experience with VMware Cloud Foundation, VCF, yep, it's there. We have Morpheus, we have Cloudera, which are all platforms that will help you to deploy, to support those hybrid cloud solutions at that moment. Data management analytics, SAP, SAP HANA, Oracle, SQL. Well, there you go. We have reference architectures available for you. Yeah. If you want to do automation with Chef or Puppet or Ansible, well, also there, the websites, the documents are available. And if you go to developer.hpe.com, there you can download all those playbooks and commandlets and PowerShell scripts that you need to start automation with your HPE environment. So again, it is there already for years. And sometimes I get these questions. So this is just a quick refresh. Know that these documents exist. It will make your life easier for sure. Finally, also about containers, I told you about DevOps, Kubernetes, get more and more questions about Docker and Kubernetes and so on. Well, there you go. Know that we have for Google integration, for Red Hat, HPE ourselves, we have HPE Ezmeral Runtime Enterprise, which is, I think, the best kept secret from HPE. In less than a half a day, you can deploy completely up and running a fully deployed and configured Ezmeral runtime, including Docker and Kubernetes, to start your container development and run all your applications containerized in production in less than half a day. If you don't believe me, hey, I teach this class already quite a lot of time. I'll give you a demo. I'm good in this, in giving demos. Call me. We'll set up a call or we meet physically and I'll show you how fantastic it actually is. So if you have customers who are in need of all these kind of solutions, because these are solutions, of course, it's a stack of hardware, software, configuration, management, everything, well, know that this is available. Okay, so good. Meanwhile, I see that Frank starts to answer questions. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to take a quick look at the end of this session. But second thing in this session is it's a server and storage update session. Let's take a look of what's happening in the storage world. Well, the strategy of HPE is quite clear. We have system-defined or hardware-defined storage with Primera and Nimble and SimpliVity and now Alletra these days. So it's all hardware that you can buy. Also rather traditional storage like the MSA. MSA is still today generation 6. We have Store Easy, Store Ever for data protection, tapes, hardware focused. But know that today we see also a lot of software defined storage. So also know there that HPE owns some software or has tight partnerships with companies like Cohesity, Datera, Cumulo, StoreMagic, Scality, and so VMware vSAN, of course, we have a lot of reference architectures for VMware vSAN. And recently, Zerto for data protection and disaster recovery. HPE acquired Zerto, which is really a good thing as well that happened. So we see those two flows at the end, hardware defined and software defined. And if we take a look at the portfolio until last year, it was really clearly defined. But so you should know that today is that there is a new kit on the block, right? Which was announced last year, and now it's really ramping up. So you know, always at the launch, yeah, it's cool, NVMe, all flash storage, lower latency, higher performance. Well, I can tell you today that indeed Alletra is ramping up for sure. So Alletra 6000 and 9000, I'm going to give you a few details because, by the way, I gave you more details in the previous dedicated storage update session. So if you're interested in more details, or just call us or send us an email, or go take a look at the recording of the previous storage update session of the beginning of this year, or was it maybe in December, but it was a previous session where we dive deeper in the Alletra offering. So I'm going to show you quickly what you need to remind, and then what is new and what is coming is that we have two types of Alletra today. Also, it's a little bit too soon to talk about it, but there will be more coming. But today we have Alletra 6000 for business critical workloads, and we have Alletra 9000 for mission critical workloads. And now you're going to ask me, yeah, Bart, what's the difference between the two? Well, it's quite simple. With Alletra 9000 mission critical workloads, HPE will guarantee you 100% of availability, while with Alletra 6000, HPE guarantees 6 nines of availability, so 99.9999, which means somewhere around 31 seconds of downtime measured, guaranteed per year. And now all this can be delivered. It's not mandatory. Don't focus too much on that as a service. But this is another session that we are organizing. By the way, tomorrow we have a session about it, and we're going to keep on repeating that session as well, about as a service with Green Lake, because there is some kind of a Green Lake component with Alletra as well, which is then, I go back one slide, with DSCC, which is then COM for compute. Well, DSCC, Data Services Cloud Console, is the same thing, but then for your storage. Okay, and this is what we're going to deliver as a service. Okay, now you're going to tell me, hey Bart, I recognize those numbers, 100% availability, 6 nines of availability. Yep, it is true. Alletra 9000 is, you can call it the next generation of Primera storage, which was the next generation of Tripar storage. And Alletra 6000 has the DNA of a nimble array. So it's the next generation nimble array. Okay. So if we're going to take a look at the typical workloads that we're going to run on there, yeah, what is a database and what's a large scale database? Well, it's about the details, of course. Like I said, the most important is how mission critical, how many high availability, and also definitely how many performance, because of course Alletra 9000 will be at the end higher performant because it has more bandwidth, more controllers, more storage. So it's like today Primera and Nimble. Well, it's exactly the same, but it's just the next generation. So there you go. I told you Alletra 9000 has the DNA of a Primera system, and 6000 has the DNA of the Nimble array. But for you, more important is that now we have that unified experience. So we don't have those two storage platforms anymore. In the past, with Tripar and Primera had their own unique management platform with SSMC, and Nimble had its own management platform as well, built in the controller. Well, now this is all unified with DSCC. So we're going to take a look at that, how it looks like. I'm going to give you a demo as well, because there's one important thing that I want to highlight. Because now you're going to say, yeah, this is cool for new business. No, also for your existing business, this is a very important story. I'm going to tell you in a minute, so bear with me. Now, Alletra 9000, it's a 4U box NVMe drives. Okay, so it's all flash NVMe, highest performance, lowest latency. How can we prove that? If you want to make a comparison with other products on the market, it's very easy. It's proven by SAP. So we don't even have to tell you how fast we are with all those fantastic IOPS and latency numbers, because yes, we can show them to you by using that sizing tool called Ninja Stars. We can give you those numbers, but I challenge you, just go to SAP HANA. It's an external company that proves that we, on a 4U chassis, we can run 96 SAP HANA instances today. There's no other product on the market in 4U that can run that many instances, which proves that this is a really cool and fast product. Okay. By the way, all the other things like that you know from Tripar and Primera, like peer persistence. Now we have active peer persistence, which means that if one data center dies, so we have two Alletra 9000s, if one data center dies, everything fails over automatically to the second data center without downtime, and so on. So all these features that we had already in the past, of course, it keeps on going and getting better. Here we have a few of those fantastic numbers of how many million of IOPS that you need with that all active multi-node architecture that is available. So this is Tripar and Primera technology, that DNA that is in there, but everything is getting better. And so here you see then for those customers who really need high availability and performance at the same time, well, at that moment, we have that active stretched cluster availability as well. Now, don't want to dive too deep in there. This is just a quick recap of what is possible today, but this is what I need, what you need to understand for the future of what will be coming really soon as well. So we have then Alletra 6000. So that's the next version, Nimble Array. Yeah. Also for you, it's the all-flash model. So this is the next generation of the AF model. So we still have the HF, the hybrid model. It is still there until further notice. The only thing I can say is keep on following my update sessions. 2022 will be a fun year for all of us. Yeah, there's much more to come soon. But so Alletra 6000 today is an all-flash array with 12 or 24 NVMe drives in there, just like an AF 2040 6080. In the Nimble array, for you chassis, two controllers at the back, delivering the performance that you need. It is efficient, deduplication, compression, all the things that you know from Nimble are in here. We have InfoSight integration for sure, for AI analytics. And this is a good comparison here. Like I said, we have the AF 20, 40, 60, and 80 model in Nimble generation 5. Well, now what you're going to see is with Alletra 6000, we have a few models there, 60, 10, 30, 50, 70, and 90 today. Okay, and as you will see, if we're going to compare performance, you will see that the entry-level Alletra 6010, don't compare it with an AF20, you should compare it with an AF40 on performance side. And then the cool thing is, if we're going to compare pricing and price per gigabyte, you will see that it is actually quite close to each other. Okay, not comparing with the 20, but when you're going to compare with the 40, you will see that the total cost of the solution price per gigabyte or per terabyte, that 6010 is a very interesting deal today. Okay, and so yes, we have the first deliveries are out there yet with Alletra 6000, and the customers, they love it. It's bloody fast, very good pricing, and you're ready for the future, of course. So finally, all the good things. This is from Nimble, the deduplication, compression, thin provisioning, and so on. The usability, best in class on data efficiency. It's using the same triple parity plus built in the box. And with the AI-driven intelligence from InfoSight, that predictive analytics, level 1 and level 2 support, it's all automated. We get directly access. If you call support, most of the time it is support that will call you instead of you calling support. These are all this is always the feedback that I get from any customer who get into that Nimble experience. Yeah. So there you go. We have Alletra 9000 and 6000, more to come, but all managed then with DSCC, Data Services Cloud Console. And just like with COM, the Compute Ops Manager, which is now new, DSCC is already there for quite some time, and now it becomes really usable as well. So what is it? It's again, it's a cloud-based console where you're going to do the configuration. So the initial deployment of an Alletra array, it's the same experience. You have to ship it to the customer. You plug in the power cable, you put in the controller a network cable with an internet connection on there. And from that moment on, you're going to deploy, you're going to configure that storage array from your home office. You don't even have to go to that customer anymore. Yes, someone has to go there to plug in all the cables, but that's it. The initial configuration is done by the SEC being a management cloud console. By the way, I'm going to show it to you in a demo at the end of this session. Okay. Meanwhile, I see a question really quickly. Alletra 6000 is AF all flash? Yes. Is there a hybrid model available like HF20 or 40? I thought an Alletra 5000 might be coming. Maybe the question comes too soon. Now, like I said, 2022 is a very interesting year. And underneath 6,000, there are still a lot of numbers available. So like I said, we'll see. This session is organized just a little bit too soon. HPE Discover is coming somewhere in June. There will be plenty of announcements. And if you call me and you sign an NDA, I can tell you more. But maybe the question is coming too soon. Yeah, you put it in there. I didn't say it. So, but the only thing I can say is, yeah, there are things that will be coming. Yeah, so don't worry too much about it. So, Cloud Console architecture, what do we have? And this is what I'm going to show. Green Lake Cloud Platform. So GLCP is the platform where you're going to connect to. You being the HPE partner, also your customer, of course, and you get access to then DSEC for data services and COM for compute management. And by the way, networking, yep, Aruba Central is also in there as well. Okay, so all the management is transitioning to that GLCP Green Lake Cloud platform. It's using unified APIs. Yep, I did the test already. So for those companies who want to do automation through PowerShell and so on to connect to the Green Lake platform, it works. It is possible. I did it already. It's really cool. From within PowerShell, I connect to Green Lake. I can create 1 or 2 or 5 or 100 volumes and connect them to all those servers of those customers. If you prefer the non-GUI, if you prefer the CLI way. So all that is possible through that API as well if you want to do automation. And now very important is that experience that will be changing that you need to be aware of. Do you need to be worried? No, not at all, because it's just there to simplify your life. But like I said, from the deployment on initial setup and configuration, you're going to do it from in here. Then you're going to manage that platform. Yeah, you're going to create volumes, present those volumes to your servers. You don't have to go on premises anymore. You can do it from wherever you are. You only need a web browser and an internet connection. Upgrade systems. Single click of a button. Info site will tell you, hey, on that Alletra 6000, which is the same as a Nimble experience, and Alletra 9000, which is the same as a Primera experience, info site will tell you, hey, for that system, there is an upgrade available. You don't have to go to Spock and the support sites to see if there are updates of that firmware, for instance, or drivers. He will tell you, the console will tell you, hey, you need to do an update. You push that button and you do it online. You don't have to do it. You don't have to plan downtime anymore Sunday evening at 10 p.m. in that cold and noisy data center from your customer. Nope, just do it from home, right? And send the invoice for the time that you put in there. Optimization, tweaking, everything is in there. All those services, and by the way, there will be multiple services that are coming. I'm going to talk about that in all my Green Lake sessions that will be coming as well. But for me, one of the coolest products that will be launched this summer, it was announced a few weeks ago, the 23rd of March, it was announced. backup and recovery services here in that protect section in here. Yeah, now you can protect virtual machines from within a service. You're just going to sell a service. Yeah, so that is coming. That will be available in Belgium somewhere this summer time frame. Yeah, I am playing already with it. I am in the beta testing group. I love it. It's fantastic. And the only thing that you're going to sell is a service. Mr. Customer, you have 10 VMs that you want to protect on premises or in the public cloud. Well, this is the price per VM. To set it up, 5 minutes. Stay following me. I'm going to organize update sessions on this one as well tomorrow already in the Green Lake session. So keep on checking out backup and recovery in that protect service that you can deliver. There will be much more services coming, search, mobilization services. So keep on following definitely the Green Lake cloud platform integrations. Now, of course, don't worry too much since it's cloud, it's secure by design, it is cloud native. So now those platforms are cloud native. And of course, since it's the Nimble DNA and the Tripar and the Primera DNA, hey, we have proven experience. At the end, it's a new product, but it's not a new product. It is proven technology, of course. And so what you're going to deliver is actually, we will simplify your life, which means that you can do more effective things, other things for you and for your customers, and you can deliver effectively SLAs or SLOs, those service level agreements and objectives. This is now how you can support better your customers, right? So I told you about that deployment. Like I said, you just have to power up the device and connect it to the network. That device is auto-discovered and activated. You just have to activate it with the key that you will get for 3, 4, 5 year support that you ordered with us, and then you're gonna configure that system. In less than 15 minutes, 15 minutes, that system will be up and running. You can create a volume, connect it to a server, and put your workloads on there. And then it goes further, because this is really a cool thing then. It's called intent-based provisioning. At that moment, what you're going to do, once that system is set up, you can create a volume. The only thing that it will do is, yep, it's a Oracle database workload. Okay, I select Oracle. I need 500 gigabyte or 1 terabyte of Oracle workload. And then you hit OK. And then he will look for storage arrays, imagining that you have a customer with multiple storage arrays. That's a big customer, but nevertheless, he will look for the most ideal storage array. If your customer only has one system, of course, there will be only one system, but he will look for the most ideal system where we're going to run that workload. You hit OK, everything will be configured for you. 5 minutes later, just install, put your Oracle database on there. That's the whole idea. It's really a shift in the paradigm of workload optimized provisioning. By the way, just like in the cloud. Also in the cloud, you put a database on there. They're not asking you on which kind of SSD storage or hybrid or all flash, whatever. They just send you the bill of, hey, put that Oracle database with that number of IOPS. Well, here it will be exactly the same. Yeah. And the coolest thing of all to me is manage from anywhere. Independent of where I am, at home, on the road, traveling, I am abroad at the other side of the world, I can manage the environment from my customers. Yeah, and I can do it for compute, I can do it for storage, and I can do it now today as well with networking, because since 2 weeks ago, Aruba Central is also migrated into the Green Lake cloud portal. And I told you already about those invisible upgrades. Well, that's the whole idea with, we had that already with Nimble and with Primera, that the upgrade is just a push of a button. And the whole idea is that it's non-disruptive. Yeah, you don't have to ask for downtime anymore Sunday evening at 10 p.m. You will do it online. And that's the whole idea then about that data management that will be unified across all the platforms. We have those cloud operations wherever the data lives. And this means that we can go faster. We don't need days, weeks, months anymore to maintain that environment. We're going to accelerate that innovation for your customer, that you are working in a more efficient way, but also your end customer will be also working in a more efficient way because he will have faster access to his applications and his data. Now, very important. Now you're going to tell me, hey, Bart, but this is fantastic for the world that is coming. That's not true. If you have a customer with a Nimble Generation 5, and I know I see a lot of familiar names in there. I know that you have customers with Nimble arrays. Yeah, because in the past they had an MSA and I told you, yeah, but a Nimble is a smart MSA. It's smart storage. It makes your life easier. And then they bought a Nimble Gen 5. Well, at that moment, know that DSCC Data Services Cloud Console is part of the licensing of that Nimble Gen 5. So if you have a customer with Nimble Gen 5 with all-inclusive licensing, the only thing that you need on that Nimble Gen 5 is an active support contract. I assume that there's an active support contract. Well, at that moment, you can enable DSCC for that customer, for all the new, but also for existing systems. For those who know me, yes, I have a Nimble Gen 5 in my garage, in my own little data center to play around with, and there is some data on their production data for myself. Well, my Nimble Gen 5 is under management of DSCC. The only thing that you needed to do is install Nimble OS 6 00300, which is GA, which is general available today. So all those models, the AF, but also the HF model. I have an HF20, I'm going to show you in a minute, but so the HF20 is supported. You don't need that license because with Alletra, I confirm that for DSCC, there is that subscription license, which is part of the solution. Yeah, but with Gen 5 Nimble, since you have paid for the support all-inclusive licensing, I can tell you DSCC is included. This is really cool. Just update to 6.0.0.300, and then there's a little procedure that you need to follow. You have to go to infrastructure, storage, then Nimble storage arrays, because you have to log in info site, and then you have to check indeed that you have installed effectively 6.0.0.300. Now, initially, it was for pre-testers, for candidates only, but this is not available. This is not needed anymore because everybody can install this version now, since it is GA for all your Nimble arrays. And then the only thing that you have to do is you go to your management console of your Nimble array, you go to administration, and then to customization DSCC, and you just have to enable it here. Guys, how difficult is that? Just enable DSCC. And then what you will see here is that you get a token. There's a token, a key that appears. And that's the one that you need to copy paste, because then what you need to do is that you have to go to the Green Lake portal. I'll show you in a minute. It's greenlake.hpe.com. If you don't have an account yet, you have to create a free Green Lake account. It's just your email address and password for your company. Then you go to the app catalog in DSCC, and then you're gonna add that device. I'm gonna show you in a minute how it looks like, by the way. And then you're gonna add your device based on that token that you just copied from your system. And at that moment, you go to device management here, you hit on that button, add device, and then you're gonna put that serial number and that subscription key in there. And that's it. And from that moment on, you can manage your Nimble Gen 5 array from all your customers from one central location, being greenlake.hpe.com. And then you will see here that we have DSCC, we have COM, we have Green Lake, and we have Aruba Central with all the belonging services to manage it. By the way, there's a video available on YouTube. There are online trainings. You don't need an online training, but all the step-by-step procedures that I just showed you, it is all available for you. Now, I'm going to show it to you in a minute. Last thing before we're going to go to the demo is one more important thing that I think there are quite a lot of customers here in Belgium that will be interested. You know InfoSight, with all your Nimble and Tripar and Primera and now Alletra arrays, which is that AI management tool for your storage, all HP storage except MSA. Yeah, but we have InfoSight, fantastic tool. I use it even to do sizings, to sell solutions to customers. Now, one thing that you should be aware of, might be interesting, is do you have customers with SQL Server? Well, if the answer is yes, please check here the upcoming 4 slides. Because what is that? Well, you know, InfoSight is looking, we have that thing called stack analytics. Yeah, cross-stack analytics. InfoSight is looking at the hardware, your servers, connected through a network to storage. And then on those servers, we have a hypervisor, VMware and Hyper-V. Yeah, and the virtual machines on top of it. And now we're going to do that cross-stack analytics to tell you that virtual machine is using or abusing your environment. Yeah, fantastic tool. If you don't know InfoSight yet, don't worry. I have a presentation, I have a video, I have a recording on InfoSight yet. And one of the upcoming sessions in the upcoming month that we will organize is about InfoSight, because of course also InfoSight exists already for 10 years today, but it keeps on getting better. How does it get better? Well, now InfoSight until now went up to the virtual machine. Well, now with App Insights, we go higher. We go up to the application level. And we're going to analyze the application level. And the first application that is supported today is SQL. There will be more to come, but SQL is there today. So like I said, InfoSight exists already more than 10 years. Yeah. And we have trillions of data points collected with embedded AI ops, with recommendation engines, you know, Waze, for if you need to go somewhere, smart GPS, well, watch out, there's a car accident, there's a traffic jam, go another way. Well, those recommendations from Waze, when driving with the car, you will get those recommendations now for your IT. Move that virtual machine to another server or another data store, because there is maybe an IO contention. These kind of things are in there. Yeah, that intent-based provisioning that I just told you about. You just have to give a workload and then he will look for a storage array that can handle that workload. Who is doing this? Who has that intelligence? Well, it is InfoSight. Well, now, this is the cross-stack analytics, by the way. We have the storage, the networking, the compute, the VMs, and the containers. Well, now the first one, the first application integration is indeed SQL. And so what will happen, I just have a few pictures of it. What you're going to do is that now InfoSight will take a look at your databases, at the configuration, where are the database files, the log files, where are they stored, and are they stored on the ideal environment. So this is a screen capture that I made from this SQL App Insight integration. So typically you will get a top 10 dashboard with the databases, with the transactions, the latency per database, the transactions per database, so you can see instantly who is the popular database or which database is holding a lot of popular data. And also you can then directly see if the latency is high or low. And then you can make your decisions of maybe I have to move that database from a hybrid to a all-flash array, or maybe to an Alletra 9000 or an NVMe array indeed with Alletra, and so on and so on. So you're really gonna give that visibility of that complete SQL Server deployment to your architect. So this is how it looks like. You really can see the virtual machine running on an ESXi host, running on a ProLiant BL460 in this case, and it's stored on those 3 data stores on those volumes. So you see really from the top, from the database up to the hardware, where is it based? You see that complete topology in there. And then fantastic dashboards. You can see then, whoop, there is a peak. Why is there that peak? And then you can drill down up to the minute. You can see who is using and who is abusing that database. Now you're going to ask me, hey, Bart, that must be expensive, right? Well, what's the price? Frank can answer that as well in the chat window, but I can tell you, we don't have InfoSight licenses on stock at Tech Data because there is no SKU for InfoSight and there is no SKU for App Insights for SQL. The only thing that you need is you need an active support contract on your Nimble or your Alletra array. And if you have an active support contract, or you have now with Alletra that DSCC subscription, which is actually then the support on the management of your system, well, at that moment you get InfoSight for free. I don't want to call it for free because it's not free, but it's part of the support contract of your HPE systems. That's all that you need. And again, it will give you a better experience. Your customers will be happy because you can deliver more performance, and more performance means happy users. And that's what we need. We want happy users. So there you go. You get all those insights. You can do a much easier troubleshooting, doing correlations of who is then the noisy neighbor, which database is impacting the performance of those other databases. Again, here's a link with a video of how it looks like. There is a website specifically. If you go to infosight.hpe.com and you log on with that same account, HPE Passport account, then you can here register for that preview, and then you can download the necessary software. There's a little collector tool that you're gonna install to connect to that database. And then off you go, you get all this interesting information. Okay, so that's a lot, right? I told you in just a few months from the previous update session, HPE keeps on going and changing and making your life even better, that you can sell more to your customers on the hardware level, but also on the software level. Okay. And so we're almost at the end of the presentation, but nevertheless, there's still Q&A. So I'm going to take a look at that in a minute. But also, I promised you just a quick little demo. Yeah. If you want to have the extended demo, you want to see really everything specifically for your customer environment, of course, call me. We set up a call, or I'll come visit you, and then we'll do the deep dive demo for you, of course. So what I'm going to do is, hey, greenlake.hpe.com. How hard can it be? And now you get all the details of what Green Lake and all the announcements and so on. What interests me here is this button, Launch HPE Green Lake. Not a Green Lake customer yet. Get started. You just have to create an account. It takes less than a minute. He needs an email address and the password. And otherwise, I'm going to sign in to Green Lake already. So, of course, I need to authenticate myself. Yeah, because I was signed on. So I'm going to sign in. Here's my password. And because it's the cloud, of course, we want two-factor authentication. Yes, there is two-factor authentication. So I selected the Okta verification. It's just a little application on my smartphone. Hold on. There you go. Yeah, there's my smartphone. So there's a little application on there. There's a message that is being pushed. And so now my smartphone asks me, hey, Bart, is it you that is connecting on that PC to Green Lake? So I just hit that accept button now, and I get redirected. So now I have here my own company called Bitcoin. I go to that account. And so now you will see here that I can manage for my customer, because by the way, this is one of your customers. You're going to create a customer per customer. You're going to create an account here, of course, you as being an HP partner. And so you see customer A, B, C, D in here. And I just can select here, then switch account. And then I go to customer A, customer B, customer C. But now you can see from that customer, I can manage his network environment. I have DSCC to manage storage, and I have compute ops management to manage my compute environment. And then if that customer is interested in really the cloud experience, pay as a service, pay per use, at that moment there's a thing called Green Lake Central. Now this is another story, this is another discussion, this will be another webinar that we will organize, or a physical event that we will organize, like the event tomorrow, for instance. But that's Green Lake Central. Then that's really pay per use. This is outside the scope of this demo. But now if you're going to take a look to DSCC, so to show you my Nimble generation 5, which is in DSCC, well, there you go. By the way, info site is part of it. Cloud Physics to do the assessment of the current environment and to do a sizing for the new environment. Cloud Physics is part of Green Lake Cloud Portal, as well of the DSCC Cloud Console. And now we have Data Ops Manager. So Data Ops Manager, just like Compute Ops Manager, what I can see is I have now, in my case, one system with 6 volumes. I have 3 ESXi hosts that are connected on there. I can see how many free capacity, how good it goes. So all the typical information you will see here. And now I can drill down up to the system itself. And so now you get things about the performance of how many performance and how good or how bad it goes with the throughput of my system. And so now, can you imagine that one cloud portal with all your 10, 20, 50, 100 customers with a Nimble array? I don't have to go every month or every 3 months to do an audit of the environment of that customer. I can do it from the office. I can do it from here. And by the way, you will get an alert. If something goes bad, you will get an alert anyway in here. And so now what I can do is, for instance, here in this block storage, what I can do is, you can see now that I have a certain number of volumes and hosts on there. And what is really cool now, so these are the data stores that I created already on my Nimble array. But now what I can do is I can hit here that plus icon. Okay, I just have one system, unfortunately. I'm still waiting for Frank to send me a second and a third array in my garage, but today I only have one. What kind of workload do I want to put on there? You know what? I'm going to put an Oracle database on it. What's the number of volumes that you want? I just want one volume. Oh, sorry, that's the name of the volume, Oracle. And I want one volume of 50 gigabytes. Now, to which group of hosts who needs access to this storage? So I'm going to select now my ESXi hosts. So all my ESXi hosts. And then the final question is select a protection policy. How do you want to protect? This is the snapshot integration of Nimble. I say no protection. And now I hit continue. Now he's going to look for a system that's that intent-based provisioning. That's when I have 2 or 3 or 4 arrays. So now he's going to look for a system that can handle this workload. Oof, luckily for me, there is still on my HF20, there is still headroom available. There is capacity and performance available. Then I have some additional options that you can select in here. Then I hit continue, I hit review, and I hit submit. Well, what is happening now is DSCC is connecting to my Nimble storage array in my garage. It is creating that volume, and it is presenting that volume to my ESXi servers. Yeah, by the way, at this moment now, it is done already. And what I can do now is I can send now a mail, or I can call the ESX team, the VMware team, and say, hey guys, just do a rescan HBA. You will see a volume of 50 gigabyte, or how much was it? That's the volume for that Oracle workload. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and now, by the way, the VMware team needs to do a rescan HBA and format that volume. Bear with me. After the summer, there is more integration coming with intent-based provisioning. In the next versions, you will see that also the integration with VMware will be there, that this volume will be directly created and discovered by the VMware servers themselves. It keeps on coming. It keeps on evolving, of course. Guys, how cool is that? Yeah. And so this is with DSCC. You have these services. And now I told you, yeah, that really cool thing that will be coming soon, that will be available this summer, that you will be selling as hell, is backup and recovery. Yeah, that's a service, one of these services that will be coming. But what you're going to do is you're going to sell that subscription for, let's say, 10 VMs. The customer wants to protect 10 virtual machines. So you buy that or you sell that subscription for 10 VMs. Well, now you can see here, because this is integrated. DSCC is integrated with my storage. And by the way, the cool thing is this service, yeah, will be available even for customers with an EMC storage array. So it doesn't even have to be a nimble array. If nobody's perfect, if they have a good old EMC storage array that you want to transition, but they want data protection already, you can do it, because this works outside Nimble and Alletra as well. That is so cool, but I'm going to organize another session about that because it's so cool. But now you can see your virtual machines in here. Yeah. And what you need to do is, here are protection policies. So you can create multiple protection policies. You want to make a backup, a data protection of that virtual machine, typically on a local snapshot. You want to have a snapshot and then a local backup on local storage on premises, or do you want to make a snapshot, a local backup, and the cloud backup? Guys, by the way, this is the 3-2-1 rule from Veeam. The only difference is you don't have to sell Veeam. You don't have to install a server with Veeam, with proxies and repositories and so on. Yeah, because it's all in here already. Yeah, and the only thing that you will need to do is here then, by the way, here are my virtual machines. I just had to make a connection one time with my vCenter. So I just had to create that vCenter connection. It takes less than a minute to do so. And now what I'm going to do is go to that protection group. So in less than 2 minutes, I create a protection group. Do you want to protect everything, or you're going to create a custom protection group? I want to have a custom one. So this is my testing that I want to do. I'm going to protect virtual machines on VMFS, because there's also data stores protection and vVol protection on that vCenter. And now what I will get is I just have to pick here a few virtual machines in here. So tell me which VMs that you want to protect. You want to put them in here, and then you're going to hit submit. And so now you created a protection group of those VMs. And now once that it appears, it takes just a little bit of time, but once that you see that protection group coming in here, then you have to hit that button, protect. And from that moment on, those virtual machines, they are protected. You can do, they will make the backups locally on local storage and in the public cloud. And that public cloud, by the way, it's all in the price of that subscription. And then you can do restores. How cool is that? That is data protection, backup and recovery data protection as a service. And believe me, there are much more services that will be coming. But like I said, that's another discussion in here. What I'm going to do is quickly, I'm going to show you something as well about compute ops, because I see that we arrive almost at the end of the session, and I want to take a look at the Q&A quickly. But so for compute ops, oh yeah, by the way, I have to switch my account because it's not available yet in Europe. It's a GDPR thing. It's coming this summer. So I switched now to the Green Lake Cloud Platform demo, where I have access as well. But now if you go to compute ops management, now you will see in here, it's the same experience, but now for servers. So if I go to my servers, you will see that I have here one DL385 Gen 10 Plus in here. And guys, this is iteration, this is version 1. But what I can do is here, I can power on, I can power off, I can reset it. If the customer calls, hey, my server is stuck, well, I can reset that server in here. But first version now is already really cool, update firmware. So now he will tell me here that there is a new SPP service pack for ProLiant, the latest one available. I just hit next, and then start the update. And now he will start updating my server. So if you have 20 customers with 1, 2, 3, 4 servers, well, you don't have to go every 3 months or every 6 months or every year to that customer anymore, because now you can do it from here, all from data services console, compute console, and the networking console. So guys, that's the Green Lake cloud platform. This is the transitioning of how you're gonna manage your IT environment. Okay, and guys, you're the first ones that I am talking about. So you are the first ones that are ready to talk about this with your customers once that it's starting. But at least now, and you and your salespeople can prepare for this shift in how you're going to consume and manage your IT environments with HPE. Okay, good. Let's switch back to the presentation. My last slide is, where do I find more information? Guys, there's one link, Tech Pro. Yeah, because I can give you 20 links in here, but to me, there's one site which is called techpro.hpe.com. And then we have those tech talks. A lot of information that I get is from these tech talks. It's for free. It's a 1-hour webinar that you can attend. It gets recorded. You can take a look at it afterwards as well. But all those tech talks are in there. There's the information library with all the reference architectures. There's continuous learning. For those who are certified, ATP, ASE, Master ASE, in SimpliVity, and so on, certification learning is there. Onboarding, you have a new colleague that is new into HPE. In that onboarding section, there are really cool online learnings to get onboarded of what is HPE, what is a ProLiant server, what's HPE storage, golden pitches, events that are organized like HP Discover and TSS a few weeks ago. So all the information is there. And even then, if you cannot find the information, we have a fantastic team that will support you. Probably you know Wim, Steve, Christophe for the technical stuff, for the bill of materials. There's me being the architect. We have Danny and Peter, who are all the non-technical stuff about partnerships and so on. Our HPE dedicated account managers. There's a phone number. There is our email address. If even now you don't know how to get started, or you want to know more information about the Green Lake platform, about Gen 10 Plus, about those NVMe drives and the mega RAID controllers and so on, well, we're here to help you. Okay, so there you go. Thank you very much for your time and your attention, and so many registrations that we had. So thank you very much for that.